This is the Alden Report.
Hey, it's Mike Alden. I hope you're enjoying the Alden Report as much as I am. I love bringing to you new and exciting people that add value to your life. I'm also super excited to announce my latest book, Bestseller Secrets. Listen, if you're an author, maybe you're thinking about writing a book, maybe you've already written a book, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to continue to grow your brand, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to bring in more leads, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you wrote a cookbook or a children's book, maybe you wrote a fantasy book, a self-help book, a tell-all book, a novel. It doesn't really matter. In my latest book, Bestseller Secrets, I give you all the information that I've literally spent millions of dollars trying to figure this thing out, and I'm going to give it to you absolutely free with my book, Bestseller Secrets. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com. I give you all the information that I've spent literally millions of dollars trying to figure this whole world out. My books have gone on to do amazing things. I'm a 3-time Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestselling author. I've hit #1 on Amazon hundreds of times. My books have been the #1 book in the world against all books in every category. And I've also done this for other authors. And I'm giving you this information absolutely free. Just go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. You got to pay a small processing fee, but it doesn't really matter, again, because I've spent millions of dollars. And here's the other secret. You can do all this stuff yourself. If you don't have a team, that's okay. If you don't have a lot of time, that's okay. You read the information in my book, again, whether you just started writing a book, whether you've written the book, whether you wrote the book years ago, and you want to kind of resurrect it. In my book, Bestseller Secrets, I show you exactly what you need to do, and I'm giving you the book absolutely free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com, download the book, take that information, use it to become a bona fide, legitimate #1 bestseller. I show you how to become a #1 bestseller in less than 24 hours. And again, I'm giving you this information for free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com.
This is the Alden Report.
Again, I want to hear the horror stories because, you know, in one of my books, it's over there somewhere, Blueprint to Business, you know, I do talk about the horror stories. You probably heard me tell some of my horrific stories. Listen, if you're an entrepreneur, you're doing the kind of numbers that Trey's doing, the kind of numbers that I've done and continue to do, you're going to go through hell and back. It's just the way it is. But again, we're on with Trey Lewellen. He really, the best way to describe him, he is a e-commerce expert. He's an online expert. You know, obviously he really knows what he's doing. We met on Clubhouse, which is an app that if you're not on it, you need to be on it because it's an amazing network opportunity. It just started, just launched. I don't know when you're going to be listening to this. Maybe it's a year from now, what have you. If you're not on it a year from now, then you really missed out. So if you want some more information about Trey Lewellen, you can just go to treylewellen.com, and that's TREYLEWELLEN.com. You can also find him on Instagram, LinkedIn. He's everywhere. YouTube, right? And also, and he's got an amazing training course as well, too. And by the way, which we're getting a lot of it, you know, kind of for free now. And that's also, you know, the interesting thing about Clubhouse is he's been giving this information out to thousands of people because he's been through the experiences. He cares about humanity. He cares about people and he wants to help people. Is he going to make money at some point? Absolutely. That's just we live in a capitalist society, but he's first adding value. I hate when people talk about adding value and it's just like it's just like a bastardized term now. No one's really adding value. They're like, how do I convert this fucking guy into a sale? Trey's actually been giving, you know, really valuable information just like he is right now. So if you want more information, again, you can just go to treylewellen.com. Let's talk about the horror stories. Now, see, I understand this world, you know, very well. Everything that you said has happened to me and even worse. So yeah, you go from essentially nothing to crushing it. And I mean, Kevin Harrington tells us a great story in one of his books, how he had all these walks that he was selling on TV. He had 10,000 of them. They came over from China. They had rusted them. He already sold them. They had to just figure it out. As entrepreneurs, we just figure things out. So you're crushing it. Stripe account gets frozen. Tell me about what happened there. Tell me about that story and the pain that you went through.
Yeah, well, the horror story kind of started with your question of, did you do your own fulfillment? So I thought I was big time. Like, dude, I honestly got my ego in the way. And looking back at it, like I thought I was cool shit because I was building a call center. I was building a company, right? Like building a company, corporate. I had 50 people in a call center. I had 25 people as well, additional in a fulfillment center here in St. Louis. We had 10,000 square foot for the call center. We had 7,000 square foot for the fulfillment center, but I knew nothing about either of those.
How old were you then?
I am 35 today. So I was like 28.
Wait, today's your birthday?
No,
Oh, okay.
October.
Okay. All right, so 28. So you start. All right, so it's right around the same thing when I started as well. So 28, growing the business, doing the things that you think you need to do. Right, you're adding different divisions. You got fulfillment, you got the call center, you got customer service, you get the marketing.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I've done with my company, Blue Vase.
Yeah.
So you're starting to grow, and then what happens?
Right. So basically, we're growing right at a crazy clip. Our biggest day was $500,000 in that day, and I think I don't even know how many units that was, but basically, we were doing like 10,000 orders a day, and is what I remember our highest peak was at that time, and it was incredible because we're just growing. Chargebacks are low, refunds are low, but what I didn't understand was we were headed for a cliff because all the chargebacks and all the refunds were following the wave. Right. I was just in front of the wave.
They're usually 30, 60 days behind.
Right. I didn't know that. I'm living the good life, right? Like we're going to be rich. And so we can retire. And what happened was a competitor came out and that sold the same exact flashlight, put a different name on it. Like I said at the beginning of this call was we just sell OEM products. So we don't have trademarks. We don't have, we don't own the product. It's not ours. We just sell it. And another competitor came out in the space, knew more than we did at the time, crushed us like a little bug. And we were, Perry Belcher always talks about you're either the windshield or you're the bug that gets squashed. And we thought we were the windshield squishing bugs until we got squashed. And basically the competition comes out and they paid a higher CPA, a higher cost per acquisition. So we were paying, I think, $84 for a conversion on a $56 flashlight that we bought for $5 to kind of give you some profit margins. And they came out and they were giving a CPA of $130. We couldn't even, there's no way that we'd ever catch that. And how they did it was really shady. Basically, through their upsells, they scammed people into buying more of the same type of products, but they didn't know they were buying it. So their carts were like $300. And so they were just, they're on a mid rotation kind of game. And it was just awful. But what that did to us was it really revealed where we were bad at, what we were doing awful. And it was pretty much everything. Once that opened up, because all the affiliates go away once the CPA changes. So all our affiliates were great. They're happy at $85, but someone comes out and says, hey, I'll give you $130 for the same thing. Right. Our entire traffic moved.
No loyalty. There's no such thing as loyalty.
Whew, in that space, no, they don't. Dollar change they'll switch. Right. Let alone $40.
They'll switch for like you said, $1. I mean, I've seen it. Yeah. So right.
Yeah, they don't care.
So how does that? So how does that thing? So I think I know the answer. So basically, your affiliate traffic goes away. You have all these transactions, but now you don't have new transactions, and you start to get returns and chargebacks and things like that. Right? Is that what?
Right. We could not fulfill the orders fast enough. We had a couple containers get held up in Anchorage, Alaska, because they didn't have the Made in China sticker on them. Right. So they held them. We had to actually send those two containers back to China, have them put the stickers on, bring it back over. And so that put us behind. And that's where that 70,000, we were 70,000 orders in the hole by a 2-month span, 60 days. We couldn't get them out fast enough. We didn't have the logistics. We didn't have the manpower. We had no clue what the heck we were doing to get these things out. And so when people don't get their items within 10 days, they get upset. When it's like 15 days, they start calling their bank. When it's like 30 days, dude, they're on the BBB, they're on the Attorney General's office, they're on every which way they can get on.
Right. They want their money back.
Do they want their money back? They want us stopped. And here's the biggest problem that I need to reveal to you is we paid a CPA, okay, a cost per acquisition for this transaction. So in this case, we paid $84 to the affiliate. We had cost of goods in there. So that's all paid out.
Right.
Next person, he refunds. He says, hey, I want a refund. Or in worst cases, we couldn't answer the calls because we didn't have enough call reps. So they called their bank and did a chargeback. So not only did I lose the transaction of $100, I'm negative 80 for the affiliate. Now I'm negative 130 additional on the 80 because they charge back, plus an additional $30 to pay off the chargeback. Stripe charges you $30 for a chargeback. So for every chargeback that we were getting, we are losing around $250. And the chargebacks kept growing and growing. we hit a 10%. The max I think we hit. Maybe it was even more. Who knows? But we hit a 10% max load of chargebacks.
Yeah.
And
which, by the way, so just put that in perspective. Right now, in here we are in 2021, and even I've been in this game for a long time. Once you start to climb over 1% in the real world, it becomes a problem. In the affiliate space, depending on who's processing it, you can run it what I would call hot 2-3%. You're okay, but I think it's a little. But in the industry standard is once you climb over 1%, which is to me I think is really low. That's when it starts to have problems. You were 10 times that.
10 times. So we're now on the radar of Visa.
I'm just like, my head is exploding. I can't wait to hear the rest of this. So keep going. Yeah, right.
So we get a lawsuit from Visa and MasterCard.
Okay.
So basically, I guess who knew is once you go over a certain amount, we were doing so much volume at Stripe at this time. This is when Stripe was newer. We were not only on the radar of Stripe, we were on the radar of who they process through, and on the radar of Visa and MasterCard of doing so many transactions. So we get a letter from both Visa and MasterCard stating that any chargeback that comes through beyond, after this date, which was like, January 15th, we are going to add on an additional $100 to the fine. Yep. And I think that came out to be like $500,000 in fines that we had from Visa and MasterCard combined, which was just an alarming amount. Stripe at this time, it's January. We have no traffic. So if they see zero traffic and they see chargebacks out the wazoo and refunds. And so they're holding $1.6 million from us that we can't use as funds to refund. So they said, hey, we're going to hold this 1.6 million and you will have to wire us cash in order to refund your customers.
Right.
That creates
it's the most insane thing as well. Now, do you also you get the 1.6 that they froze or actual transaction from transactions that had just happened. I don't even know. What Stripe is doing because they're an aggregator. But are you building a reserve? Do you have a 5% reserve, 10% reserve? Up until that point, I'm sure that they started taking one. But were you building a reserve?
No.
No, so you had no reserve. So just so people know, like in high risk industries like I'm in, which is ridiculous, we just sell supplements. But when you process a credit card as the merchant, you usually are dinged a reserve between 5 and 10%, and it's usually what they call a rolling reserve. So after 6 months, it starts to come back to you. Stripe is what they call an aggregator, meaning they process transactions across all different industries. So a lot of times, if you're a merchant, you can start off and you have no reserve, which is great because that 5%, 10% is usually a profit margin anyway. But when you started out, you didn't even have a reserve. And the reserve also, for people who understand, the reserve is actually designed for this very reason. If something happens, where if like Trey were just to go away, the money's there, but the money's not even there.
Right. How they caught 1.6 million is basically Friday they shut us down and we didn't know because you get your deposits on Monday. Mm-hmm. And so they had a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of transactions. So that's where the one, like I said, we're doing 500 grand a day.
Right.
So it adds up quickly. 1.5 million by Monday. We don't see the deposit. We freak out. Tuesday, we get, we're like, hey, Stripe doesn't have a phone number at this point. No chat, it's just email. And come to find out, they're like, hey, we're shutting you down, but you can still process. We're just not gonna deposit. You can still process, but we're not gonna deposit. That's right. What they said. And basically, this is what I wanted to kind of hit on is since they're holding 1.6 million, we can't refund. We're no longer taking transactions. So we have no money coming in to give refunds to the people from the past. So now we have to wire them additional money above and beyond the 1.6 million. And they want $100,000 deposit every time. So to give out refunds, because if we don't give that, the refund button on Stripe, it was grayed out. Like we couldn't click it. And what that means is someone's on the phone with you. Think about this. Someone's on the phone with you. Hey, can I get a refund? Oh, I'm sorry. Our refund button doesn't work. What do you mean your refund button doesn't work? Like, how is that possible? So guess who they call next? The bank. And when they call the bank, guess what? I get a $30. I get the money's removed, right? So now Stripe has a penalty out for me. So I have to owe that. I have to owe $30. I have to owe another $100 to Visa and MasterCard. So dude, I'm gonna catch 22.
And again, because again, I know I can feel your pain because I've been through a similar circumstance. There's also a personal guarantee on merchant accounts too. So you're personally on the hook for this too. I think that people don't understand. A lot of times people start a business, an LLC, they think you're protected. In this scenario, there's a personal guarantee there. So, all right, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't.
Are we bringing up good memories for you? Does this feel good?
Oh yeah, I can get into that. I got PTSD from this.
Listen, I've been matched. I think we talked about this before. So I'm guessing you had to have been matched. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so keep going. And again, like. For those listening, and we've been going a while, and I don't know how long you're going to stick around for, but if you obviously you're at this point, the reason why we're going this long is, again, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in business, if you're thinking about being in business, again, it's not always rose-colored glasses like my cheap. These aren't rose-colored, but my cheap 99-cent glasses. It's difficult, man, and it's like Trey said, there's PTSD involved. Like I legitimately have PTSD. I've dealt with, I wouldn't call it depression, but I had a massive panic attack where it almost put me in the hospital. And so the life of an entrepreneur is not for everybody. It's difficult. It's great. It's rewarding when you're successful, but when you're getting the shit kicked out of you, like what the story he's telling you, it's fucking brutal, right? And so it's brutal. And I don't mean to try and bring up these old PTSD memories for you, but I think it's important too, because a lot of people don't talk about this stuff. You know what I mean?
Dude, I didn't want to talk about it when it was happening. I was embarrassed.
I bet. So, and you're here now, which is obviously you got out of it, right? And that's the other thing too, to understand is that, okay, so you're fucking in hell. You're personally on the hook for this stuff. You have no sales coming in. You got 1.6. You've been sued, I think, at this point by Visa. Or
MasterCard,
or you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's next? Like, what do you do?
Well, what's next is we're in hell, and in comes gasoline.
It gets worse.
It got worse.
I'm guessing AGs or the FTC might have come.
No, actually not. Right. AG did come. Attorney General, they were pretty easy though, which was nice. Thankfully, like that's a story for another day.
Right.
But what happened was, I was like, all right, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Like I've been beaten down at this point. Right. But I'm just all in. I'm an entrepreneur. This is what it takes. Like we're doing this. We're going to become somebody. I'm going to get a name of this or something.
Do you have any money? Do you have any money at this point? Do you have any personal? Because I mean, you guys were making money. So are you sitting on some cash that you can to try and solve some of this, or no?
We were, but it's being diluted super quick. Like, we're writing $300,000 checks every other day. Like, money doesn't last long when you're doing that.
Right. Okay.
Just, to everybody else. So, we hit a bottom, of course, but, we were, on our way down. Like I said, this is like, I'm just trying to get this plane off the ground. Like we are headed for the earth to crash and burn. And then of course, like think we're like coming down and then our wings fall off, right? Like I thought we had a chance, but then our wings fall off. I was like, I don't know how we're going to survive. And how that happened was a sheriff shows up, and it's never a good day when a sheriff shows up because those are the guys who deliver lawsuits. And this guy has a packet. Like this thing is huge. And he's like, hey, are you, Trey Lewellen? I was like, yep, that's me. He said, this is for you. I said, thank you. And I said, all right. And I remember opening it in the first page.
I know.
My heart,
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. My heart just drops, man. It said we were being sued for $2 million. And we didn't have $2 million at this point. And I was like, we're doomed. We're done.
Was it a class action?
Yep.
Yes, I thought. Yeah.
No. It wasn't a class action. It was a lawsuit because in a video we used a logo of a big company that wasn't in the flashlight. Okay.
Okay.
And so we didn't know that. We were told that this technology was in the flashlight by this big company, but it was artificial. It was not. It was a fraud. But we had all the documents, in Chinese that said it wasn't. And so who are we to know, right, that it's not? Like, geez. So anyways, they sued us for $2 million because of the sales. They thought we were everyone, though, which is interesting. They thought we were all the flashlight offers when we were just one. So they definitely picked the wrong person to come after. They should have gone after more people, which they tried. And who knows what they sold for with those guys too. But they definitely came after us. And this was my first big lawsuit that I've ever had witnessed on me. And what was even worse was they put my name in the lawsuit. It wasn't like our company, right? They had our company and then they had our names. Like they were going after, they were ruthless savages. They were just going out. I was like, we're a little family company, like $2 million. Like, you guys, what the hell? And so, dude, panic attacks, losing sleep, not knowing how this is going to be. And then you get into your head at this point. I started getting in my head super bad. And the only thing that I thought was, every day that I wake up and go to work, my hustle's gone, my drive is gone, because all I'm doing is now making money for this company. Right. Like that's where I was in my head. And for the next, like that all got settled. It took a year to get settled, which, it didn't settle for the amount that they, wanted initially, but it was a lot less. And thankfully, right. But at the end of the day, I was out for probably 3 years, just mentally exhausted from this inertia of, ginormous sales and in the public's eye, and just, being ridiculed of this amount of sales. And at the end of the day, what's kind of hilarious is this is all about a flashlight, a freaking flashlight that turns on and off, right? Like it wasn't a supplement like you're kind of saying earlier. It wasn't like, I just said Oprah said this is the best amazing, pill to take and right. People die. Like it was a flashlight.
So let me like get localized a little bit more. In your local town, are the local papers covering it, or is it because that happens sometimes too?
Yep. Yeah, we were on the news.
Yeah. So and you're now essentially the Antichrist. You are a bad person. You're a fraudster. Like anything and everything you can imagine is being said about you, which you're not. Like I said, you made a mistake. You're young. It happens to all of us. We make mistakes. I mean, when I had an issue with credit card processing, I made a mistake, and ultimately I got matched because of it. So, but so you, all right. You're in hell. So did you effectively go out of business? Did that business just go away? Did you guys just go out of business?
We touched bottom for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what kept us alive was our email list. We had 1.4 million emails, and we also had, we're in survival mode, man. Like,
did you have all those 50 people that were working for you and all that? Are you laying everybody off, telling everybody to go home? Like what's going on? No,
nope, I couldn't, dude. I have too big of a heart. And that's my enemy, right? Like that's the backside of me, is like too big of a heart to like fire people because of my mistakes. So now I have this, issue of, man, this sucks. Like I'm getting sued over here, but I also, I got 75 families to feed. When you think about that, like these guys are leaning on me. They need me to go out and market, to be able to sell, to be able to bring home income, to pay for their food, pay for their life. And so I had to become creative. I had to become smart, and like look at different things at different angles. And so I started looking at our assets. What assets do we own and that we can go out and get? And our assets were an email database and a call list. We had a CSV of 1.4 million people. We had over 300,000 buyers between all the products we sold. And I opened up the call center. I said, we're doing outbound sales, my friends. And let's roll.
I like it.
We did outbound sales.
Yeah, that's interesting because when I went through hell, not as bad. Well, pretty fucking bad. Pretty bad. That's exactly what we did. Outbound. Yeah, it's really, again, it's really smart what you just said. I had a mentor that said that to me. A lot of times people look and they say, when you're going through this stuff, like, how do I generate more sales? What do I need to do to go outside of it? One of the smartest things to do is look at what you already have, right? Look at your database, mine your database, because there's a lot of gold there. People don't realize it. And outbound, especially within the affiliate world, because we've done some outbound, because I have a whole outbound division myself. Affiliate guys, they usually they don't have the time for it. Now they're starting to get smart because they're realizing they need to. But a lot of guys, they just, once they make the sale, they run and gun and they're out, and they don't even bother even follow up and follow through. So outbound essentially saved you.
Yep, outbound and emails. That saved us. That kept us alive. I'm not gonna say it saved us. I didn't take a paycheck for like 6 months, but it definitely kept everybody else afloat. So I think a lot of times, as an employee, we don't respect our CEO or know like what our boss is actually going through most of the time, because looking back, like they had no idea that I wasn't paying myself. Like everybody in the company made more than I did. They think you're lining
your pockets.
They think my pockets are huge, and I'm just trying to stay afloat and keep them, excited and happy. And so just, always give your CEO a praise. Like, you don't know what they're going through. They might be going through some troubled times, but they'll never show it, because they want to make sure you guys are happy and taken care of.
So how do you, all right. So again, I know this pain. I've been through it a few times, right? A lot of people haven't. And if you're an entrepreneur, hopefully you don't go through it, but you probably will. So just so you know, again, I don't know if you can see it, but these sunglasses are actually like
they're doing great.
Yeah. I could see this little thing on my head. So for those listening, you can't see, I'm being followed by like the sun. If I was in my studio, I wouldn't need the glasses, but anyway, so I'm glad I have them. So, okay. You have essentially had your legs cut off. And one of the big things though, in this business is the ability to process credit cards.
Yep.
So you are like, again, you're in the worst spot possible. Did you get matched? You had to have been matched.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you get matched. So again, so what people understand what match means, this is the description I give people. It's like trying to get a job at a daycare and being a level 3 sex offender. It's the worst thing that can happen to you, right? That's another way I describe it. It's like worse than bankruptcy. It does only last 5 years, but so you get matched. How are you processing credit cards? What are you doing?
We went through Mauritius. We went through an island.
Okay, so you open up. So yeah, so that's the other option that people do is you go through offshore. So
yeah.
if you're in business and you're processing right now, and if you don't have that, you should at least as a backup, right? But when that happens, they're not going to clear as well. You're not going to get the same clearance rate. It's actually cut significantly. It's they'll tell you it's 85%, but it's probably closer to like 70% of the transactions that will go through. But at least so you had that. So you had a backup to at least get started.
We didn't have backup. We weren't that smart.
You got a way to process credit cards.
Yeah, we had a way. Yeah, we had to get it really quick. Like we got it in 3 days. But like you get taken advantage of when you're in a big need like that.
Sure.
They put a 20% reserve on us on that. And I think we even had to do a down payment of like $100,000 or something like that.
Right.
So we're just throwing money at everything just because we're trying to stay afloat.
Right.
So that's how we stayed afloat for a good while. And then the reserves were so high that we had to move. And I actually had my mom came in and saved us. She opened up an account.
She became an owner essentially. And
yep.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So all right. Let's. We've been going for a while, which is awesome, and I could talk to you for the next 2 days, I think. But I don't know. We talk about the attention span of people. They say it's like a goldfish. So that happened years ago. Here you are today. You're essentially kind of doing the same business. I wanted to ask you, like, you're not still selling flashlights, or you are? I don't even know if you are, but I think you look at other products, right? You're looking at trends and essentially taking that same business model, or are you just still selling flashlights? What are you selling now?
Yeah, the flashlights are gone. Those are, people are still selling them though. And that's to show like how powerful that flashlight was and a product is. It's just different ways to sell the product. We only thought of one, and all these other guys have thought of many different. And it's been cool to learn and see how those offers have been displayed, because it just shows us other ways that we can take a product that's in our inventory and keep selling it outside of the premium price that we maybe have started with. So it's been a great learning experience, and watching those guys, make money out of just kind of an idea that we came up with. But today, man, like fast forward, getting out of my own way again, like, back to, hypnosis and meditation, and just, like being reborn, I guess, is really what happened. Like over that last 7 years, we tried to get the gun space up and running. We tried to do all the guns and ammunition. We can't advertise anywhere. We did some Trojan horse stuff, which worked pretty well, kept us alive, fed us, but didn't really do crazy amounts of volume.
What's the Trojan horse stuff? What's that?
Oh, Trojan horse. Okay, so basically, you said obviously you can't sell guns and ammo on Facebook. We did. We sold, a lot of guns and ammunition through Facebook. Basically, Facebook can't know that you're selling guns and ammo though. So we had to do what I like to call a Trojan horse. So I go one tier over, and I'll get a product that has the same avatar, the same customer base. And so we went out and manufactured our own gun oil, and gun oil is allowed on Facebook. And so we would sell gun oil, And then as the first upsell, once they purchase the gun oil, because anybody who's buying gun oil owns guns and loves guns and ammo, we would say, hey, do you want to join our membership? 14-day free trial. Get into our membership. It's $19 a month, and you get guns and ammunition and silencers and all this stuff at cost. So there's no margin. The margin where we make the money was our membership. And so we would do a Trojan horse offer on Facebook, which they love those offers, but didn't know that we were selling guns and ammunition on the back end. That's the Trojan horse offer.
Yeah, and that's interesting too. I heard you talk about this before, and what you're doing is you're building, and I know you're a big fan of this as well. And again, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but what you're doing, and you talk about this on your website, and I know you show people that, how to do this in your training. By the way. The thing that I actually love about what you're doing is that not only have you done it, but you continue to do it, and you made a shit ton of mistakes, and you've been through hell and back. Where a lot of guys that are trying to teach people how to run a business who've never really been in business, they're just really good at teaching other people about how to run a business, but again, they've never done it, and now that becomes a business, so it's kind of like, kind of this weird thing. So you've done it, you've been through hell and back, but what you just talked about with this whole Trojan horse scenario is you're building a subscription base, right? You're building continuity and auto ships, and I know you talk about like that's the thing that's, it's somewhat predictable, it's scalable, and it's something that I think people really need to look at. But what the offer you're talking about is you build a subscription base that offers discounts to people for future sales, right? So now your profit margin on that is huge.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it was somewhat huge, right? So we only made profit on the membership. So $19 a month, that's where our profit was. We didn't make any money on the guns and ammo because we sold it at cost.
Right.
So that was a mistake that we changed later on.
And you're also arbitraging that too, right? Like you guys aren't actually physically shipping guns and selling guns, are you?
We would arbitrage it.
Do you not want to say that?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Some of the guns came through us through an FFL. Yeah. So we had to get our federal firearms license.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
All right.
So we did everything legal. We were,
wow.
We were best friends with ATF. So, but interesting enough, you get the FBI showed up twice while we were selling guns because people kill people, and so you got to deal with that.
Man, dude, like, I could talk to you. I'm gonna have you back, and maybe we'll kind of cut it here. But before we do cut it here, so again, if you've been listening, we've been on with Trey Lewellen. You've heard his story, which is awesome, and I love having entrepreneurs on. I love having people that have been through, the difficult times, who have built businesses and have also figured it out. Like, this is the life of an entrepreneur. Like, you have to figure it out. It's never going to just, start right away. It's not just gonna, you hear people talk about their overnight success. I mean, most people that I know that have had an overnight success, and this is exactly what Trey is. I mean, obviously it's been overnight for him, right? But it's, overnight success usually takes 10 to 15 years. That's usually the timeline. You always hear about the 10,000 hour rule and outliers. So before the last thing is, so someone listening right now, they're in business, they're thinking about getting business, they're like you, they're an insurance agent or insurance broker, they want to get out. What would you suggest other than going to TreyLewellen.com and hiring you and taking a look at your coaching program? Like, what would if you said, hey, like, these are the first two things I think you should do in order to enter this world of entrepreneurship, what would those things be? I mean, it might be more than two, but
Yeah. That's a great question. I asked that same question to Russell Brunson. It falls back on that top three that we talked about earlier, is what's the top three of this? And I was in Russell Brunson's office. If you know anything about that guy, he's got like a bookshelf that's super tall and super long. And I walked in there and I'm like, hey man, dude, you got a lot of books. Like, you spend a lot of money on books, cassettes. He's like, oh, millions of dollars on all this stuff. I was like, that's crazy. I said, what's the top three books that you just love? He's like, oh, easy. And grabs these 3 books. And I was like, great. I just wrote them down, walked out. And, 3 weeks later, he calls me. He's like, dude, what you did to me was just incredible. Like, I was kind of mad about it, but then I was like, that was genius, because I spent all this time, effort, money, and you just came in and got the best 3 and walked away with it. And I'll share those with you. So those were what I would suggest. There was 3 books that he gave.
All right, I'm getting ready to write them down. Hold on a second. If you're listening right now and you're driving, pull over. If you're at your desk, get your pen and paper. Here we go. The 3 books. Let's hear them.
The 3 books, you probably have a couple of them. The first one was Breakthrough Advertising.
All right.
So that one's a good one.
Who's that by?
Eugene Schwartz.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. Breakthrough advertising. And then the next one, which you have to get on eBay, which is called the 12-month millionaire. So it's not even like, it's not anywhere. It's on eBay. That's the only place that I think I've ever seen it. But it's called the 12-month millionaire. It's basically how a guy made $100 million in 12 months. So that's really, that's an intriguing book. It gives you all the details. Like he's super specific. Excellent copy. And then the third one is a great one by Jay Abraham. And it's the, I want to get the right wording because I always mess it up. It's Money-Making Secrets of Marketing Genius Jay Abraham.
He's so funny. I spoke at an event with him, man. He's a hoot.
He is a hoot.
Money-Making Secrets Jay Abraham. All right. Cool.
Yeah, don't buy the summary. You want the Mac Daddy. I think it's like it's usually about $300, but man, it's an education. You won't ever get through it. I have not even read the whole thing just because it's so full of gold.
Yeah, he is a dynamo. Like I said, I shared a stage with him once before. We have a friend, a mutual friend as well. So,
Right.
Trey, again, this has been awesome, man. For me, it's great. I hate to put you through the PTSD that you went through and to bring up some of those old memories, but I think it's also I'm grateful that you're able to share this with people because even for me, who's been through very similar circumstances, and it makes you understand that, hey, it's not just me, right? You know what I mean? You're a good person. You're trying to do the right thing. Just things happen, especially in entrepreneurship. But you're here today, which is also a testament, So if you're going through a tough thing right now in business, in your personal life, or whatever it is, I've learned, from mentors of my own that, you will get through it, right? It will get better. When you're there, when you're in hell, it's difficult. I think Winston Churchill said, if you're going to go through hell, you might as well go all the way through. Trey, again, I want to thank you so much for being my guest on the Alden Report. My name is Michael Alden. That's Trey Lewellen, and we'll see you soon.
Hey, it's Mike Alden. I hope you're enjoying the Alden Report as much as I am. I love bringing to you new and exciting people that add value to your life. I'm also super excited to announce my latest book, Bestseller Secrets. Listen, if you're an author, maybe you're thinking about writing a book, maybe you've already written a book, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to continue to grow your brand, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to bring in more leads, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you wrote a cookbook or a children's book, maybe you wrote a fantasy book, a self-help book, a tell-all book, a novel. It doesn't really matter. In my latest book, Bestseller Secrets, I give you all the information that I've literally spent millions of dollars trying to figure this thing out, and I'm going to give it to you absolutely free with my book, Bestseller Secrets. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com. I give you all the information that I've spent literally millions of dollars trying to figure this whole world out. My books have gone on to do amazing things. I'm a 3-time Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestselling author. I've hit #1 on Amazon hundreds of times. My books have been the #1 book in the world against all books in every category. And I've also done this for other authors. And I'm giving you this information absolutely free. Just go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. You got to pay a small processing fee, but it doesn't really matter, again, because I've spent millions of dollars. And here's the other secret. You can do all this stuff yourself. If you don't have a team, that's okay. If you don't have a lot of time, that's okay. You read the information in my book, again, whether you just started writing a book, whether you've written the book, whether you wrote the book years ago, and you want to kind of resurrect it. In my book, Bestseller Secrets, I show you exactly what you need to do, and I'm giving you the book absolutely free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com, download the book, take that information, use it to become a bona fide, legitimate #1 bestseller. I show you how to become a #1 bestseller in less than 24 hours. And again, I'm giving you this information for free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com.